Good morning, StephanieGrams with sewingwithsteamllc.com, and I am going to make a simple butterfly today. I'm actually using patterned fabric, so this is a lime green with white polka dots, and you can follow along. The nice thing about hand embroidery is you can use any type of fabric you'd like for the background. There's really not any type of rules for this. That's the type of art that I like. I like the no rules type of art. All right, I am going to start out by drawing my design freehand with this Mark Be Gone marking pen. I found this at my local Walmart. I'm guessing you can find it pretty much anywhere that you can find sewing notions. I probably have about 4 of these in my house, but I just decided I probably ought to get a new one during this quarantine thing. So let's see, what is today's date? Today's date is Friday, March 27th. Let's see here. March 27th. All right. So I hope everyone is doing well during all of this life-altering situation we have going on. Hopefully this shows up in the camera for you. Again, I don't look for perfection, and with this pen, there is no wrong way to use this, because I believe this one comes off with a dab of water. Yeah, it says right here, water soluble. This is actually my favorite one to use so far. All right, and then I just have a magnet here. 2 little magnets. I just stick those to my fabric, and then I lay my needle on that. Hopefully you can see that. That is like what they call a needle minder, and it's not fancy, it's just a magnet that I have laying around. Maybe one day I'll make it fancy and cute. So because I'm using a colored background, I want my embroidery floss to kind of stick out, kind of pop. So what I'm doing is I'm looking through all of my different types of floss. This one came with 100 bobbins already pre-wound, and then I added the DMC in here myself. Now if you watch any of my videos, you'll know this was actually in the vintage sewing box given to me by my grandma. So that's those. I have these to pick from. Here's another box. I really like the jewel tones. I don't know what else to call them. I call them kind of like a jewel tone. So let's see here. I wound these. If you watch my videos, you'll see where I wound all of these myself. And then I have one more box. So I say sew, S-E-W, a lot. Sorry, it's just a cornball thing that I do. Now, if I was being professional at this point, I probably would have chose my color scheme, but I'm not really doing that. I'm just doing this for fun, for taping this morning. Sometimes things don't need to be planned out in advance, and this is one of those times. All right, I kind of like this. Are you able to see what that looks like? Pardon the camera. All right. I like the yellow on this green background. I'm just trying to adjust my light settings to see if it does, if it helps. And then I have this tiny little lamp right here. I found this at the Dollar Tree. It's a little LED. It runs on batteries. I'll turn it off. See? I mean, it truly is just a little tiny one. It gives me enough light when I'm stitching, so that's a good thing. All right, I'm kind of liking these jewel toned colors. Whenever you're hand stitching, make it your own. Decide what colors you like. The only wrong way is giving up. So don't give up, just keep moving forward, keep practicing. Oh yeah, that's too late. So we do need a bolder color. Did you see how that just disappears in it? That doesn't stick out very well, I don't believe. So this goes back in my case. We need to find another type of maybe jewel color. I like these three colors together, so these will be the main colors for the butterfly. Now I might go with a silver for the, I guess they're called antennas. Let's see what that looks like. I like to unwind it off these paper bobbins a little bit, just to see if the color actually matches well or not. I still want the antennas of the butterfly to show up. Yes, I like this. Now this is like a grayish color, maybe silver is a better way to describe it. This is gray, and it's too dark for this color. This has more of a silver in it, and as you can see, it's not white because, let me get a white. This is white. You see the color differences together? So this really does have like a silver in it. So we're gonna go with this color along with these, what I call jewel colors for the stitchery. Let me try to put these back in a little bit of an order. I'll move them out of the way because I most likely will knock them off my workstation. All right, let's set these over here. And I'm just going to freeform it. Do you see these little bolts? How they stick out right here. So you know what I like to do? I don't know if it's really made for this, but this is what I like to do. These paper bobbins, I just like to hang it on there and unwind. Isn't that silly? But it seems to work for me, so that's an idea for you. I'm actually going to call this video part 1 because I am not certain how many videos this is going to take. All right, there we go. So if this shakes, I apologize, but I am hand stitching, so that does happen. I still tie my knots the old-fashioned way. I know there's all types of knots or sewing knot hacks out there, but I just still do it this way. Now see these little white polka dots? I think what I'm gonna do is make, I don't know, maybe make a French knot in that. Not all of them, because I do want that to show through. So let's see if I can't get a grip on here. That actually would be cute. Maybe I'll just do like every other one. So if you're using fabric with background designs, try to take some time and think about some stitches and hand embroidery stitches you can do. And you know, to incorporate it. That's what I'm trying to say. Now for a French knot, you only wrap the embroidery floss around your needle twice, and you keep it tight and you pull it through. Sometimes my French knots end up looking like what they call a colonial knot, and it has like a loop in the top of it, and that's because I didn't hold it tight enough for the entire pull through. So this is what you do. You make sure that you pull your, don't pull it so tight you pull the knots out. When I first learned how to do this, I was about 7 years old. I might have been about 8 years old by the time I learned these. And I pulled so hard, I kept pulling the knots out of the fabric, and my grandma was like, no, you, be gentle. Be a little tough, but you still need to be gentle. So you eventually get the hang of it. And I always have a disclaimer in my videos, and that is I don't always talk through the whole thing. So when I get quiet, I'll start talking again, I promise. So with what's been going on in the world, my main business was sewing memory bears, and with the, I don't know if it's the CDC or the WHO or whoever it was, they were talking about how the, and I'm not allowed to say it on camera because my videos can be flagged. Anyways, you have to be careful with fabrics, also not just regular surfaces. So I'm not really sure how the whole memory bear sewing business is going to be going, but I do enjoy myself some hand embroidery, and I love fabric design. I also like designing patterns, so I will probably go ahead and just keep my main focus on that. But I'm going to continue, and I'm going to leave some of these white dots, because what I might do, I might take another color of floss and put that in here. I think I'll do this one. So one of my goals during the self-quarantine was to use as many fabric scraps as I could. And this actually happens to be a scrap of fabric. I thought it's so cute, it's so pretty for spring. So I'm using this for spring. We'll remove this from my handy dandy holder. I'll flip it. I'm just going to tie off on a knot. Are you able to see? Let me move my stand a little bit closer. Just tie a little knot right there. Try and move that out of my way. Now I have a large piece that I'm going to keep using. I'm going to go down here and fill in some of these. I'm just tying off a generic knot. It's no big deal if this happens. It happens to the best of us. If it becomes bothersome, or if you don't have success in pulling it through properly, it can always be cut out and redone. Okay, there we go. See how I was able to work that through? All right, let's make sure. Is the thread tangled anywhere? Nope. All right. Go over here and do one. There we go. Actually, you know what? I think I'll go ahead and put one right here. I kind of like to have it as even as possible here. Again, there's no right or wrong reason. So there are my yellow French knots. And I'm just going to tie this off. I think I'll do 2 knots with this one. Okay. I most likely will keep this for a mixed media art project. Put the yellow that we picked out that I just used, I'm going to put that aside. It's a generic color 444 if you're wanting to follow along. The generic, you'd have to go way, way back into my playlist when I was organizing all of this floss. But this is the generic from a large bag, I believe from Walmart. So it came in a bag by shoot, I don't remember, but anyways, it's generic. Do I want purple polka dots with the yellow, or do I want pink? Pink and yellow. I think I'll do pink here. Put it back on my little screw here, this little bolt. Be sure to like and just subscribe to my channel. It's still fairly new, and if you find something helpful, please share it. I'm just tying this into, like I said, a little generic knot. Nothing fancy. When you get 2 knots in the wrong place, I just knot it again. That's big enough. This shouldn't poke through. And if you're not sure, knot it again. Okay. I'm trying to go a little slower for camera, but you know, if you already know what you're doing, then this process takes way less time. But as far as filming, I'm trying to take my time in case I have newer, you know, maybe a beginner hand embroiderer watching. don't go through the actual hole. You want to go right next to that hole for this stitch. I don't have any color number on this at all. Most of the floss that I had for quite some time. And the little paper sleeves were already off of it. Some of this was tangled in a shoebox, you know, one of the plastic shoe boxes, I should specify here. And then, or clarify. So I think, yeah, I'm going to make this two-part video because the more I look at this, there's a design. If you can see, I have a lot of space here. I'm going to put some type of design around here in part 2 of the video. So make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel and follow along. You're more than welcome to post questions. I do my best to read them as long as the platform lets me know that I have a message. If you post a question and I don't respond, please let me know that you posted a question, because I do respond to all of my questions. As long as I see them, I respond. Now, if you see this polka dot has a line over it, I'm not going to make a French knot in this. That would get in the way of the outlining line or outline stitch that I'm going to do around the edges. Like I said, make sure your needle goes beside the hole that you pulled through and not directly in it, because you'll just pull your thread completely out, and that's not what you want. Now, it's hard to tell, but you can see that these lines, like this shape, is not perfect on both sides. If that bothers you, you can erase this with a little bit of water and then redraw it if you'd like. But when I do my outline stitch, this is going to be lopsided. It's not going to be perfect. Again, it's a freehand drawing, and it really doesn't bother me because I kind of like the abstract type of art. We're just about done with this. Alright, so I have all of the inside of the butterfly wings stitched, so all the French knots are done. And I am going to tie this off in the back. I just pull the string just a little bit carefully. I don't pull hard, because I don't want to pull my threads out of the front. Okay, now let's see here. Move the pink out of the way for now. Now I'm going to take this purple and I'm going to outline the butterfly wings. I'm just tying a generic knot on the back. Now I do have extra lines, and I'm going to try to keep those even with the stitches, or with the stitch before. So some of these lines I won't follow because, again, I freehand the design. So I call this the chain stitch. It's basically when you come back, let me see if I can zoom in. There we go. Okay. Whenever you make a stitch, you come back underneath, try to get in between the floss, stitch before. Sorry, I'm still trying to zoom in so you can see this. All right, so I'm going to show you here. I'm going to stitch forward. All right. I typically put my finger here. You want to split that stitch with your needle and pull up. Just continue to stitch this way all the way around your butterfly wing. And you can use your finger to guide that bottom thread. Alright, so if you want, you can guide your thread with your finger, hold it down, bring it up from the bottom, split the thread, and continue around. Let's see which line I want, the bigger line. I want to follow the bigger one around. There we little tangle underneath, so I needed to gently pull that out. I'm going to continue to follow this outer line that I made. I need to adjust my little lamp here. Hopefully that's still enough light for you guys to see. If you know any stitches other than these with your hand embroidery, feel free to do your own design. This video is basically to give you some ideas on how to use your scrap fabric and printed fabric for a background. I am just going to take this stitch around up here and do like an infinity or figure 8 sign type of, actually no, that's not what I'm trying to say. Actually, yes, it is what I'm trying to say. Pardon me. I'm going to take it around here. That way it looks like one long continuous stitch. Kind of for, you know, uniformity, I think the word is. Again, you can do this any way you'd like. Each butterfly part could be a different color floss if you choose to, a different stitch. Use your imagination, use what you have. Go. Oops, missed the thread. Go in between. And just go up. I don't have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube yet, so I'm not allowed to go live on YouTube yet. So I have to pre-record and upload it later. But I would love to be able to go live on YouTube. It would, I mean, obviously it'd be a time saver for me, but I'd like to have a two-way conversation with my viewers. It just makes it nice. I had a YouTube channel back in 2006 or 7, around there, with my marketing business, and then I just stopped using YouTube and felt like, yeah, you know, I wasn't really into it then. But now I'm like, oh, I should have kept that. I should have just changed up the topic, but it's gone. I mean, I might have videos floating around somewhere, but it has nothing to do with sewing. It does have a lot to do with business though, because that's what I did for so long. We're running just about out of floss with this, so I am going to end up having to tie this off and then pick up where I started. Yeah, we're going to tie this one off now. Set that off to the side. I have a big loop back here, but nothing I can do about it now. Sometimes that happens. I don't let little things bother me. It's not going to make or break this design at all. Get back in the camera view. Alright, this video is long enough, right? So let me zoom in one last time. You can see. See if I can lighten this up a little bit for you. So here's the colors. And then we'll zoom in and I will show you. We did French knots inside, and we've done a chain stitch on the outside, and then the next part I have to do the antennas, and I'll most likely do a design down here. Again, this was part 1, and I hope to see you for part 2. Bye guys.